I'm making these videos called The Road Back to Wealth to provide a focus point in the future to work towards and allow you to ignore lots of the scaremongering and the panic media and what's called the doom porn that's been thrown out there, and that basically is meant to throw you off your feet, to make you panic, to make you follow some leader that will hugely profit from your insecurity. Of course, you don't have to be insecure if you know where you want to go, and I think it's just you might as well think about where you want to end up with your society. If things are changing around you, then why not change it for the better? And one of the very important elements in a wealthy society, so in a society that is not indebted, is not enslaved by having to be profitable all the time, but is wealthy in the sense that people feel the wealth. One of the important factors is, of course, energy and cheap energy. Cheap energy, as we know it, based on fossil fuels, is about to end. Although, of course, the oil companies will deny that vehemently to secure the jobs of the people in the oil companies, and of course to remain attracting investors. Because if you know that the International Panel Agency of Energy Agency, I'm sorry, I have to look up the exact name, has analyzed all the oil resources in the world and says that it will last at least or at most another 15 years or 12 years, but then it will be so expensive that it's no longer viable or profitable or desirable to look into it. Then you might think, oh well, okay, so now Exxon is trying to invest in tar sands and in all kinds of places, but why invest in that technology if we can invest in wave, wind, geothermal and solar thermal energy, which is long-term viable and only becomes cheaper as you go along. And it's very important to do that, because that's a true investment in the wealth of your society, because energy is necessary for every part of society. If you want to produce food in large quantities and you don't want to have farmers working, a lot of farmers having to work in the fields, you need to have these machines that plow the land, that process the grains, that package them, and etc., and transport them. And for that you need cheap fuel. And right now those processes are largely subsidized. Also, let's say transportation around the globe, if you want to be an export country, US wants to export goods to China, you need fuel to fuel the ships and the machines in the harbors and the trucks that run around. And now the rates for those fuels are usually very low, lower than the market rates, to subsidize that whole system. But there's a way to achieve that, and it's not driven hard in the media, but it should be. And you'll see it peaking out in different countries that, for instance, do not have their own fossil fuels. And that is growing seaweed in the oceans. It's a very good thing to do. And first of all, seaweed grows very fast. It takes about a year to mature, and you can then pick it out of the water, and you can turn it in many things that are perfectly useful. First of all, you can eat it. Second of all, so you don't have to eat it yourself, you can feed it to your cattle and have meat on your table. Second of all, you can use it as fertilizer on your land. So if your land runs out of the minerals and stuff to make plants grow, you throw seaweed onto it. Seaweed is a plant, has all the elements, so the land will be fertile again, you can fertilize it. And it's a very cheap fertilizer and less polluting. And third of all, most importantly, you can turn it into oil, in ethanol, and you can process it that way. And that's a serious option, because Japan has looked into it. I have a link next to this video. And Indonesia and South Korea just signed an agreement to go exploit large part of those oceans there and grow seaweed for their own fuel resources. That's smart, you know. That's smart in many ways, because it doesn't pollute. It breaks the power structure. It allows them to be self-sufficient. They have something to export, etc., etc. And the US can do that too, because it has large stretches of ocean around Hawaii and next to the coast of Maine is a large undeep portion. I have to stop this video, but that's something that people should really push and look into and promote: seaweed growing.